I thought it was a bit sad, actually, and a bit kind of like my dog with his tail between his legs. And Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, they don't sort of sneak out of competitions in that way. And I just think Andy, who is the most phenomenal player, he still is one of, if not the most exciting player in the game in terms of the variety of shot he can play and his tactical nous. I just think he either needs to have a very strong look at himself, or he needs to get somebody on board who's going to actually shake him up and realise that, the clock is ticking. He's 24 now, and it's no good saying, oh, he's young, the chances will come. With every championship that goes by, it's another one that's been lost. And there's going to be a cavalry of 19 and 20-year-olds who are going to start appearing, and they're going to be the next batch of contenders. So he's, the clock is ticking if he's going to win a major. I like to think so. I really like to think so. And I think the key thing that will determine whether he has a really, really big chance of winning a major next year or only a slight one is who he decides, or who decides to actually coach him, mentor him, manage him, whoever that is. I think that's the absolutely key element at the moment. You saw the way he played in Toronto and elsewhere. He's every bit the equal of the best players in the world. But you've got to be the best. You've got to be the best time and time and time again. You can't just flit in and out, and that's what he can't afford to do. I think he's not quite as straightforward a character as Rafa is. When Rafa stops playing or takes a break, he just goes back to Mallorca and sits on the beach and has a glass of sangria or whatever he drinks with his mates in the fishing port. He has a very, very straightforward approach to life. I don't think Andy is a much more complex character, much more fiery character as well. So obviously perhaps not quite so easy to work with. I think it's going to be very, very interesting who he decides to go for. I've absolutely no idea who he's got in line, but I think the next 18 months, 2 years are the absolutely key time for Andy. If we were having this conversation in 2 years, 3 years time, you would almost say the ship has sailed by then. That's what we're talking about now. The next 2-3 years are the absolutely key time, or else we could all be standing here going, Andy Murray, unbelievable player, probably the greatest player this country has ever produced, but actually, how much better could he have been?